In the California mountains, a train disappears, then reappears above itself. A century and a half old, still working every day. They call it the Tehachapi Loop. What? Mound lore. Okay. Hold on. Why is my kick stream not on? The sandwich throwing guy is on trial? I thought all the charges were dropped for that dude. Hold on 1 second, real quick. Okay. Are we finally alive? Oh wait, they really did. They're having a trial? They got to trial already? Was it like a couple months? Back for day two of the Sandwich Guy's trial and government opening statement. This case is about the fact that you can't go around throwing stuff at people when you're mad. Defense begins with, he did it, he threw the sandwich. Goes on to argue that the throw was an exclamation mark at the end of a verbal outburst. The officer Sandwich Guy is charged with assaulting. Testifies that he could feel the impact of the sandwich through his ballistic vest, and it exploded all over my uniform. He says he could smell the onions and the mustard. Defense wants gag gifts provided to the officer after the incident, included in discovery. One is a plushie. Gag gifts? What? Oh, like a joke gift. One is a plushie sandwich, and another is a patch that says, if I heard correctly, felony footlong. Sounds like we won't end up seeing these physically, but we'll hear them described. Cross-exam is underway now. Witness says he hadn't read the Making the District of Columbia Safe and Beautiful EO he was supporting that night, now admitting into evidence. Believe the order only covers federal areas, of which the corner of 14th and U in front of the subway is not one. Isn't all of DC a federal area? Or maybe it's like there's like federal jurisdiction and there's a DC jurisdiction, but it's like a different thing, I guess, maybe. A bit earlier, the officer, Agent Larimore, was shown the end of an Instagram video of the incident with a subway footlong on the ground, accompanied by the text, "This sandwich is going up in history." He said he believed the video depicted the sandwich thrown at him, but had no way of verifying. Larimore, not Larimore. We're back to the sandwich video. The paper, the defense points out, is still on. You don't see there's mustard on it. You can't tell there's ketchup on it, mayonnaise, lettuce, tomato. In fact, that sandwich hasn't exploded at all. Witness says the sandwich looks bent and out of shape. Defense asks about the gag gifts the officer received from the colleagues. Oh, wait, we already... Agent Larimore is done with his testimony. Prosecution asks further about the condiments and said there was mustard on his uniform and an onion hanging on his radio antenna. Oh, no! Don't think defense was going for a pun when she called him a seasoned officer. But you never know. The government's next witness, Metro Transit Police Department Detective Dana Henry, described the sandwich throw as like a baseball pitch. Dispute over whether the prosecution can play footage of the defendant in the police station. Witness wasn't there for the most relevant portion, but can authenticate the video. These 15 or so officers remained at the scene for close to half an hour. Defense seems to be implying this was likely unnecessary. When Sandwich Guy was searched wait, is this at his house? Handcuffed on a bench. Or was this outside? He didn't get arrested after throwing, right? Didn't they have to go to his house to find him? Also discussing how charges of assault and disorderly conduct were lodged locally. These 15 or so officers remained on the scene for close to half an hour. When Sandwich Guy was searched, officers found $14 in his wallet, nasal spray, and nothing else that would raise concerns. Defense proposes that while the dispute over jury instructions is resolved, it's a nice fall day, we should let the jury go home. The judge agrees and says counsel can go enjoy the weather too. They'll come back tomorrow morning. Wait, so this is a... No, I was about to ask a stupid question. I was going to say, do misdemeanors go to trial? But of course they do. I guess it's just hard to imagine. A misdemeanor in federal court. But I guess they could. There's no reason why not. They're still crimes, right? I wonder how often that happens. What percentage of federal court cases are misdemeanors? Oh, is this AI answer accurate? This says felonies account for 97% of federal court cases. I wonder how many federal judges have to preside over misdemeanor trials. LSF was making fun of your stream layout. I was going to move the chats to the top and then have like an extended, like another thing to the left, because I can stick Obsidian here. But I was hoping this would come a lot sooner. I was waiting for a thing. Fuck. It's Corsair. Is this just never going to be released, or I don't understand? I wanted to buy this and then stick this on the side of my monitor, and then I could put Obsidian here, and I can even just have like, what are we going over right now, like the daily topics. Like I could stick that on the left side. But I feel like I saw somebody emailed me that this thing was being created, and then I feel like it's just never been in stock anywhere, like for months. So I don't know if they like never made it or if they just announced it early and didn't. I watched your VT debate. When discussing abortion, you and a student talked a bit about how people consent to the chance of a baby when they engage in sex, but to consent would mean that you understand the risks. There are plenty of people who think condoms are 100% effective and therefore cannot consent to the consequences since they don't fully understand them. Maybe. I just don't like the word consent here at all. I think it's very different. You don't... It's just... I feel like consent is not something you usually probabilistically talk about when it comes to like serious consequences, but... Generally, I guess you could. I don't like, I feel like it's an intuition pump using that word there, you know? It's on sale in the Corsair EU store, probably low stock in the US. How old is this? 2 months ago. Oh. So, okay, so one thing that you're never going to get from me, the aspect ratio has to be 16:9. Oh, this guy's taking that into account. Because I just want to be able to maximize my monitor. I don't want to have to fuck with screens and shit. It's annoying. So the aspect ratio has to be 16:9. This text and camera thing is annoying because there's too many times. So one of the reasons why I don't like these traditional setups, like what Loner or Hassan is doing, is that whenever you're watching other streamers, you can't like maximize their stream because then your camera is covering their camera. That was a thing that I was consistently running into. Also, chat overlaid on the screen. I ran into a lot of problems with my chat being overlaid with my notes, or the chat is overlaid with some text, and then that gets annoying. Oh, he says it here. Chat is hard to read if there's anything in the background. Screen usually isn't using full width. Yeah, I think if I move my 3 chats up here and then I stick notes over here to the left, I think it'll mindfuck people into thinking it's fine. To be specific, consent includes an acknowledgement of naturally foreseeable consequences of the action. You can only consent to a prospective intervention and not an uncontrollable natural process. You can only consent. Maybe, I might agree with that. I'd have to write that down and think through it all. But yeah, there's something different going on there. Like like even in a linguistic sense, it might be strictly syntactically true. Like if you go camping, you consent to a bear eating you. Even if you bring a shotgun, it's like, you know, there's a difference between like, I think I was kind of getting at this because I haven't gone down this line of thought before. So it was off the top of the dome, but it was like, I think the thing I ended up saying to the guy was there's a difference between acknowledging the possibility of a thing or accepting the possibility of a thing versus consenting to a thing happening. I always fuck her name up. Is Judith Butler the one who wrote the famous abortion paper with the violin argument and all that? In her paper, I think it's 70 or 80 pages long, but they're not like huge pages. It's worth reading because this is like, I feel like it's like the foundational philosophy paper that so much comes from. I think in the same, oh, it's Jarvis Thompson, not Butler. I don't know why I say Judith Butler so much. Did she write on self-defense? Oh, a defense of abortion. It's this. Is it 80 pages? Did I just totally fucking make that up? I think in the thing I was reading it was like 80, but they're not long. They were like small pages, but okay. I think she has an analogy in here for the people seeds. And we should also notice that it is not at all plain that this argument really does even go as far as it purports to, for there are cases and cases and the details make a difference. If the room is stuffy and I therefore open, oh, it's, where is it? Fuck. Oh, never mind. This is too much. I don't remember this. But basically she makes the argument of like, what if there are people seeds that can like float into your house, so you keep the windows closed. Well, what if you open the windows, but you put a screen up to block the people seeds, but there's like a hole or somehow like a people seed, a person seed floats into your house, even if you don't want it to happen. Suppose it were like this. People seeds drift about in the air like pollen, and if you open your windows, one may drift in and take root in your carpets or upholstery. You don't want children, so you fix up your windows with fine mesh screens, the very best you can buy. As can happen, however, on a very, very rare occasion, this does happen. One of the screens is defective and the seeds drift in and take root. Does the person plant who now develops have a right to the use of your house? Surely not, despite the fact that you voluntarily opened your windows. You knowingly kept carpets and upholstered furniture, and you knew that screens were sometimes defective. Someone may argue that you are responsible for its rooting, that it does have a right to your house, because after all, you could have lived out your life with bare floors and furniture or with sealed windows and doors, but this won't do, for by the same token, anyone can avoid a pregnancy due to rape by having a hysterectomy, or anyway by never leaving home without a reliable army. Yeah, I don't know. There are issues that I have with her paper as well, though, but this is like a good, I feel like everybody should have to, this is just like a good starting point. Like everybody bases so much of their abortion arguments off of stuff that stems from this. I think this has the violent argument built into it as well. Yeah, it does. This is where the violent argument comes from. To buy this on Pacer. What's the violinist argument? I think the idea is that you wake up and you're attached to, like, I don't know why, but it's like the world's greatest violinist, and they're attached to your kidneys and you're helping to filter their blood. And the question is can you unplug yourself and leave even if you didn't consent to being hooked up to them, or would you be murdering? Would it count as murder or something if you unplugged? It's basically that. It's a really common anti-abortion, not anti-abortion. Yeah, anti-abortion, like pro-life argument, I think. That would be unethical to unplug that. Yeah, when you guys type stuff like this, but you don't understand how fucking annoying it is for me. Like, I'm not going to set my monitor aspect ratio like this, and then I can't full screen anything, and then everything is going to be this. Like, I understand that you make pictures like this, but it doesn't work like this. You're crunching and crushing the aspect ratio. It's no longer 16:9. It's not. This is like unworkable. The greatest violinist is just to give value to the person, other than being a stranger. It's easier to consider. Sure. We'll write stuff down later because I want to prep for this Lila Rose debate. Yes, thank you, Aerith. I already said that like this would probably be the layout I was going to go with. I just don't know why that this is like never available. I thought this was going to be available much sooner, but I could stick my, I could move the chats up here and have my Obsidian notes over here. And then even though you retards are seeing the same size window here in your brain, you're going to think it's larger and stop complaining about it because you see the full screen being full. And you're going to imagine, you're going to think you're seeing more even though you're really not, but you're just retarded. And that's how customers work. So that's all good. It's all about the user, okay? The user at the end of the day. We love our users. Okay, wait. Let me just make sure this isn't available yet. Oh. I know it was just filed. That's not a judge's order. Hold on. they want to play games, so I think so. Now we're well. I don't want to describe it as playing games because that sounds disrespectful, but they opposing counsel is a playful entity that likes to play games and have fun. Oh shit! Holy shit! Andy dropped a fuck ton of exhibits on this. Holy shit. Okay, when this becomes available, I'll read it later because this will. I mean, I can probably read it, I guess myself. I'll do it later though. Exhibits. Oh wait, is it available publicly? Yeah, I just saw because he just emailed me they filed exhibits A through S. Oh shit! There it is. Yeah. Gee. Oh no. Have I talked about? I don't want to. I just have to be careful. I don't want to violate the protective order stuff. Have I talked about any of the wacky deposition shit? These people are so fucking annoying. You guys are going on the hangout? Yes, I think we have been for about the last month. I talked to my good friend today from the NWA. Gave him a little tip. Oh wait, hold on. Is this available? Let me check. What's NWA? Don't worry about it. Oh my God, I also just had an epiphany. I got minorly obsessed about a month ago. When I replaced all my USB-C cables, I also bought a new portable battery because I was playing Expedition 33 a lot. I grinded the fuck out of that game. This is probably one of this might be my top 5 favorite games of all time. Oh, we might talk about that a little bit more today too. What a great game. And what an inspirational everything about this. Who posted that thing on the subreddit? Where it's so cute. The guy posted, somebody find me this post. Apparently the guy who made this post is in my chat. You said you were. Oh, fuck. Oh, it was you. I recognize the name. Hold on. Six years ago, game. Ambitious AA game project looking for 3 female and 2 male voices. Hi everyone, and nice to meet you. My name is Guillaume. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. And I'm working with a small team of indie dev on an ambitious AA game planned to release on PC and possibly PS4 and Xbox One. We are seasoned game developers who have already worked on AAA titles, who started a passion project 1 year ago that is turning into a serious title that we want to release. For that, we are preparing a demo and a trailer to interest potential investors and/or prepare a Kickstarter. And that's where we need you. Did they ever do a Kickstarter for this game? Watch the Skill Up documentary on the game. It's insane that it came together the way that it did. I might. Skill Up documentary, Expedition 33. I know you don't follow the industry, but their voice casts are absolute all-stars. Oh, I didn't know that because I think I just haven't played AAA games in so long. That I don't know who the current voice actors are. I was going to say that I actually thought the VA for this game was really good. Verso, Miles was a little bit dramatic, too dramatic all the time, but still good. But Renoir and Verso and Gustav, I loved all 3 of those voice actors so much. I thought the VA was really good. And I liked all the cute creature things, like Esky, and then Fuck, who's the guy they have to get the stone from? The rock guy in the cave. Gustav is Charlie Cox that plays Daredevil in the new Marvel show. Wait, is that true? Oh, Francois. Okay. Well, that's cute if that's true. Male being Shadowheart was such a bombshell to me. I don't know what Shadowheart is. Is that another game that I should know about? That name is pronounced Guillaume. Oh, Baldur's Gate 3. I never played that one. Andy Serkis is Gollum. Oh, okay. There were a lot of really good things about this game. I think that has it become a standard now that everything uses like dynamic music? That like music like picks up and drops out. Did it as much? I feel like, I'm sorry, hold on. I'm getting scatterbrained as fuck. We went to way too many topics. I got like 1 hour of sleep last night. I don't fly into small airports anymore. I just fly into the largest airport and then I fucking drive. Okay, fuck, I hate small airports. It's too many bullshit delays or problems and I just hate them. God, I hate fucking small airports. So I drove from Charlotte to Virginia Tech, which is near, what's the city? It's near like Roanoke. I don't even remember the city. But I drove like 3.5 hours this morning to Charlotte and then flew back here to Miami and yeah. The first time it was used was in Donkey Kong for SNES. That much I am aware of. Really? You cannot be serious that you like this game. Asmongold thinks it should be Game of the Year, which makes that a Nazi slap game. Oh, fuck. Does Asmongold like it? Oh, no. Burbank Airport is the best airport in the country? What? I lived in Glendale. I know why people think that. The reality is, I feel like... I hate connecting flights. I don't think I will ever live, as somebody who travels a fuck ton now, right? I don't think I will ever live somewhere that doesn't have a major airport. I just want to go from A to B. I don't want to connect anywhere. Fuck that. It's annoying. If a flight gets delayed, it's just so annoying. It's just so fucking annoying. I can't do it. Are you going over the Moeen Rabbani stuff? Yeah, I will later. To clarify, Burbank Airport is the best airport if your flight is available in a nonstop version. Yeah, but Burbank's a pretty small airport, so I don't know. Another point for New Jersey. Yeah, if you want to fly to Newark or JFK or LaGuardia. Depends on where you live in New Jersey, I guess, because you have to cross the bridge. Charter private jets. I had a guy email me that. Private jets aren't as... I think that private jets, chartering a flight like that, if you have like 10 people, I think is actually cheaper than first class or business class flights. First and business class flights are really expensive. And I think you can fuck, I feel like I looked into this once. For $10K, I think you can charter a private jet to do like transatlantic, like round trip with like 10 people, which is way cheaper. Oh, hold on. Somebody said it's $10K per flight hour roughly. Never mind. That would be way more expensive. Absolutely not. Maybe I was looking at the shitty budget tier private jets. Or maybe I'm thinking LA to New York City is what I saw. I swear to God, I saw a round trip 10K charter. Chill, bro. But maybe now you make me doubt myself. Maybe just make this up. Do you always fly first class? I rarely, if ever, fly first class. I'm a bit bougie, I'll be honest. I do the economy plus now, okay? I'm in row 9, glaring at all of the pores walking past me. But thank God I'm short enough that, because I'm 5'8", so I'm short enough that I'm not like super uncomfortable, and I can still fall asleep wherever the fuck I'm at. So I just sleep through most flights. Do you obey boarding class procedure or just big dick your way to the front at the beginning? Well, you can only board. I think since I'm American Airlines Platinum or whatever, I'm always in boarding group 3. So I generally board pretty early. Don't you care about the environmental impact at all? True. I'll stop doing events. I don't know how really fat people do it. Even when I was like 230, normal plane seats were uncomfortable. I am getting more salty against flat people. Or did I say flat people? Sorry. Flat people would be based against fat people. I was almost sandwiched between two on my last flight, and then we reshuffled in the plane. Thank God, because this motherfucker tried to steal my window seat, and it was so annoying. And I'm like, okay, at some point, you motherfuckers need to buy 2 seats, all right? You're putting all your business spend on a credit card, right? So you can use miles to book business. Yeah, I suck at using my miles. I think I have like 1 million Chase points and like 300,000 American Airlines miles. I'll figure out how to use them eventually. Radiant showed me that one site though, where you can, like, the problem is if you want to use your miles and stuff, you have to book like a month or 2 in advance to get like the good deals. So, and I never booked that far in advance, so. Do you like Alaska Airlines? I guess. I feel like I've only flown them to, like, if I'm flying out of like Seattle or Portland, or I'm going to like Vancouver or something when I'm visiting Yo Mama. Didn't you say you're the best debater on Israel Palestine recently? What convo was that? That never happened. And I never said that, and you're lying. It's really annoying, but the guy that I had that convo with, they said that they lost it. So we're trying to set up another one, which is so annoying. Fuck me. I got that email on the 21st. Hi, Stephen. Thank you again for coming in last week. Really appreciate your time in the convo. Unfortunately, with our sincere apologies, we've discovered that some of the files from the interview were corrupted. We've tried troubleshooting this and have failed. This is the first time we've encountered an issue like this, and we're incredibly sorry. We're still very keen to have this discussion with you. We're wondering if there might be a chance to refilm the interview. It was a 3-hour talk. That sucks. How critical of Israel were you during the talk? Probably fairly critical. But I think I feel like I already spoke about it on stream. Like, the guy got a little bit gaslit because I think he's seen a lot of my clips and he's seen me debate against the pro-Pally. So his assumption was that I was going to be like an unhinged pro-Zionist guy. So I think he felt a little rug pulled because I was like, oh no, I think a lot of this is like really bad. But his arguments were so nuanced. He had such great arguments. I really appreciated I don't remember how many examples I read of this debate, but like, so one of the things he says is that, like, like imperialism influences a lot of the way that policy works in the Middle East. And I kind of like roll my eyes like, okay, here we go. Let's do the imperialist arguments. But the argument was basically that, like, the way that the Middle East is structured is like a vestige of the original interests of the British Empire and then the United States. Because if you look at, for instance, the monarchs that are set up, like the Jordanian monarchy, the Hashemites, those were chosen by the crown, by the British. Or like the Saudi Arabian monarchy is backed by the United States, right? Or the Egyptian rulership is essentially funded, in large part by the United States. Like, that's true. It's like the arguments that he was using is like it's the thing that I say when somebody's like, why do we go to the Middle East so much? It's for oil. And it's like, no, that's not really true. But if somebody's like, the reason why the United States intervenes so much in the Middle East is because we have an interest in the oil in that region, it's like, that is true. But it's not like we go there and we steal the oil. That's retarded. But like, we're very interested in like a secure and stable oil trade and OPEC and everything else, and we want it to be semi-preferential to us, right? That's very true, right? So he was very, very good on, we there was more agreement than disagreement, I think, with us having some factual disagreements about, especially like 48 and stuff, but yeah. So I appreciate that. I think when I email him back, I think what I want to do is I don't know if he'd go for it. I really want to moderate a debate between him and a very pro-Zionist guy. That would be very interesting to me. I would love to moderate an Israel-Palestine debate because then I can do, because there's just so many questions I can ask. Yeah. The distinction is that secure and stable doesn't mean the citizens are secure and stable, and that's the problem. Well, actually, it kind of does. We generally, like, as bad as Saddam Hussein's regime was, it was relatively stable, Could you give a percentage of how much you've shifted pro-Pally or percentage of perceived pro-Pally you've shifted? Percentage of actually shifted, 0%. The perceived pro-Pally I've shifted, probably 40 or 50%. Like, I'm very critical of, I just hate the 20-point peace plan is just fucking bullshit. It's actually such bullshit. Netanyahu is a very conniving. He's just got everything. It was just the absolute fucking dream plan. And Trump is such a fucking Israeli dick suck. And then also, no offense to my Israeli brothers, but like, you are a capable nation that, and I know everybody in Israel gets ass pained as fuck when you say this, but like, you face no real threats in the Middle East. Okay, I'm sorry. As much as you guys like to say it, you don't. You motherfuckers are intercepting rockets everywhere. Your Arab brothers are helping you intercept rockets from fucking Iran. Okay, you face no real threats in the Middle East. So to see Trump pump so much more money into Israel every single fucking year, and then meanwhile Ukrainians are getting raped and murdered, and it's like, Jesus, what the fuck? I don't know. That triggers the fuck out of me. I don't like that. That irritates the fuck out of me. Just checking. Kuwait was selling oil for cheaper than Iraq. Liked. Iraq moved all their dudes to Kuwait. We showed up and showed Iraq. That was a bad idea, right? Well, I think it was a little bit more than that. Hadn't Iraq borrowed a ton of money from Kuwait as well, and they were in debt to the country? And Saddam was like, well, if I just take them over, technically I don't owe them shit anymore. I think there was more bad shit going on there as well. Iran getting a nuclear weapon would be catastrophic. I agree that's bad. But I mean, part of U.S. foreign policy has pushed them to that point as well. Like the Trump leaving the JCPOA was just fucking retarded. Trump is just, I have to be so careful on topics. I started reading the news again this morning, and it's so hard not to Fed post on every single thing I read. It's actually so fucking hard. I saw that fucking piece of shit fucking Scott Adams, who should rot and die in the street in a video game in Minecraft, in real life in a video game in Minecraft. This loser, fucking retarded, dipshit fuck piece of shit, begging and crying like a little baby bitch, dying of fucking ass cancer or whatever, or prostate cancer, I think, begging RFK and Trump to help him. This retarded fuck wasted a month of cancer treatment on ivermectin for cancer, and now he's begging for like a newly approved FDA drug that the majority of the research came from like the Purdue Research Institute, like all this shit that the government is attacking, is unfunding and everything else. You shouldn't be allowed. If you voted for Trump, you don't get new experimental drugs. None for you. Fuck you. Get your Advil, your fucking your Wegovy, or your fucking semaglutide or whatever the fuck, and your Viagra. That's all you get. Nothing more. No experimental drugs for you. No research shit for you. Die if you get a bad disease. Fuck you. Because that's what you're condemning everybody else in the country to. It's bullshit. I think that's crazy. Guy triggers the fuck out of me. This is the most corrupt, disgusting. On Monday, I will ask President Trump via X to help save my life. He offered to help me if I needed it. I need it. As many of you know, I have metastasized prostate cancer. My healthcare provider, Kaiser of Northern California, has approved my application to receive a newly FDA-approved drug called Pluvicto. The FDA, by the way, which Scott Adams has attacked before, by the way, but they have dropped the ball in scheduling the brief IV to administer it, and I can't seem to fix that. I am declining fast. Wasted a month on ivermectin for cancer treatment, by the way. I will ask President Trump if he can get Kaiser of Northern California to respond and schedule it for Monday. That will give me a fighting chance to stick around on this planet a little bit longer, making it worse for everyone, by the way. It is not a cure, but it does give good results to many people. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Robert F. Kennedy. Scott, how do I reach you to personally help you with your healthcare? Bullshit. How fucking insane. What an insanely disgusting. Why the fuck is my Health and Human Services head reaching out to a retarded fucking ex-comic book artist on Twitter who decided to waste months of his life eating fucking horse paste, thinking that would cure his cancer? At least Steve Jobs had the decency to die after doing his retarded fucking eating oranges and apples to treat his cancer. I hate this guy so much. Oh my God, I hate this guy so fucking much. Hank Green has a great video on it. Did he make a video on this? Are you joining Kyle's fight against Joe Rogan? Kalinske is too far over the line. I'm not going to play that fucking game anymore, okay? Maybe in the future. Listen, we're rounding the corner of my court case, okay? And then I can moving. There are so many other people that I want to work with and do stuff with. We don't need these Kalinskis and everything. Have you explored human capital arguments in the context of Israel-Palestine? It seems relevant that Palestinians and Arabs in general have never built a broadly prosperous and successful liberal democracy, and this is not a change, and this is not changing anytime soon. This is why I believe the U.S. should continue to support Israel. Maybe. One of the arguments that the other guy brought up that I was interesting is the governments that we support in the Middle East tend to be monarchies, and you're not really going to see democracies pop up. Like, would we want a democracy to pop up where we have, what is his name? Is it Mohammed bin Saud? Is it the Saud MBS? When we have like bin Salman al Saud. It's the Saud family, right? When we have like monarchs like this that are loyal to us, would we want them to have democracies? What if they vote for somebody that's not as nice to us, you know? One of the interesting arguments, and it's interesting because he was arguing that like imperialism is one of the reasons why the Middle East looks the way that it does, which is either a really retarded argument or a sophisticated and true argument, right? He made the sophisticated version of it, which I like. But his argument that I thought was interesting, he said, I think a lot of Arab states could move in democratic directions if they were freed up from the monarchs that they have, which is usually like you hear like the imperialists say that. They need democracy, you know, like we gave to Iraq. So yeah, who knows? I mean, the Persians in Iran early on voted for, and they finagled their Islamic interpretations and everything. All their early scholars, when they were creating the first parliaments for Iran, said that like, oh no, we think that, you know, democratic forms of governance are compatible with Islam, and, you know, we can do this. And now I guess they're Persians. But I mean, why am I saying this like it's race realist forms of government? Like, they were Muslims, yeah. Also, people don't know this, but in all the stuff that I read for Israel-Palestine, and I've never heard anybody contradict this, so I'm pretty sure it's true. Just saying because nobody said otherwise. I'm pretty sure because of UNRWA, the Palestinians were like some of the most educated people en masse of Arabs in the Middle East. Like, the Palestinians has unbelievably amazing access to education and, you know, job opportunities, a lot of them since they can work in Israel and everything else. And the Palestinians are they're widely regarded as the ones that live in and have access to good UNRWA institutions. I don't know about the ones that live like in all the border cities in like fucking like Lebanon and Syria and shit. I don't know about that. Maybe they aren't. But like the ones that are living in a lot of the UNRWA places are considered some of the most educated Arabs in the Middle East, which is interesting. People don't talk about that much. People are focusing on Zoran, Disney Channel, nepotism groomed child instead of the wild Somalia political government takeover in Michigan and Ohio. Haven't read anything about that, so wouldn't be able to say. Better question would be, is the Arab world culturally ready for democracy as long as Sharia law is the prominent way of solving legal issues? I would say no. I don't know if that is the prominent way of solving legal issues in the larger countries, but... Would you vote for Cuomo or Zoran? If it was Zoran, 1 trillion%. Cuomo accepted an endorsement from Trump. Are you crazy? How many times can Mike Johnson use the I haven't heard of that before it gets nerfed? I don't know. We need to patch that out. I regret bringing that up. I know his staff, all the conservative staffers, they're watching my stream and they're like, fuck, Destiny says this is a really good debate tactic. We need to start using it. I feel like, I know he's not actually, but I feel like Mike Johnson's been employing that one more and more. And then even Trump employs it. Didn't you pardon like the most fucking guilty ass dude ever? And it's like, Trump's like, who? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't fucking know what you're talking about. It's like, dog, it's your pardon. My what? Gotta go. Yeah, auto pen, by the way. True. Ugh. That Corsair monitor is not available. Oh. Okay, sorry. Backing up to the very beginning of my stream, I made a statement. I realized I had a mini obsession with doing like USB-C batteries and getting all this bullshit in my Anchor portable charging stuff because I was playing a lot of Expedition 33. I finally realized why like gamer laptops never run well unless they're plugged in. Does anybody know the answer to this? I've tried to figure this out for so long. There we go. Bisco has the answer. People are saying throttled or whatever. It's because there's not enough wattage. You can't have batteries don't deliver the wattage necessary for the graphics cards to run at full power. My question about that though was, are there any laptops that use, I think in this computer, I have an A4000, which is supposed to be for, it says like video encoding, but I'm pretty sure this is it a 2000 level card or what is the equivalent? I forget the architecture names, but I think this card draws like 75 watts or 150 maybe. Like the power draw on this card is way lower than the equivalent like 3000 series or 2000 series or whatever the fuck series card. Fuck, can I find this? A4000, is it TDP? Is that what it's called? Oh, 140 watts is the max draw. Do they ever make laptops that have like these super whatever cool GPUs? Because wouldn't that work? They do sell batteries that'll put higher wattages. You'll probably be limited in terms of what you can bring on an airplane, but a lot of airplanes now have straight up outlets you can plug laptops into, so maybe you'll be fine. No, on an airplane, you're generally limited to like around, and every airplane that I've been on, if you try to plug a greater than 100 watt brick into the outlet, it'll flip on you and you won't have, you won't get any power. You'll never be able, well, at least on any airplane I've been on, you can't plug in and get 240 watts out of the outlet. Business class allows more watts at the outlets. I don't know if that's true or not. If that was true, that'd be funny, but. I do 60 watts into a battery, 100 watts from battery to laptop. You can do that, but it's still not enough. Like the MSI laptop I have, the power brick is 240 watts. And I think I need that in order to fully power the laptop so that the graphics card is running at full strength. Yeah. Why not use the NVIDIA video game streaming feature on an airplane? The fuck? Get a portable reactor and take it on the plane. I thought about getting, I got mini obsessed with battery shit for a while. But it's too much memery shit. And I don't think you can even bring this onto a plane. I don't think they'd allow you. But there is a... If you want to bring a big boy battery thing... Oh, this might not have like 140 volt or the 120, 240 volt, whatever outlet on it. 48,000 milliamp hours. God damn. Look at that big boy. Look at that. Do you know how many girls would come up to you? Can I charge my iPhone? Whew. You can bring a lithium battery with you onto a plane. Yeah, but I think they only allow up to like 26,000 milliamp hours or something. I think there's a limit. Oh, somebody said it's 100,000. Ugreen is a China brand. Spoiler alert, basically everything you buy is a China brand. You're just not aware of it. China doesn't make bad stuff. China makes everything. Some of the cheap brands are cheap Chinese shit. The really good brands generally just use better Chinese shit. The limit is kilowatt hours, not milliamp hours. The fuck is the difference? Kilowatt hour versus milliamp hour. Milliamp hours measures electric charge used for small portable electronics. Kilowatt hours measures total energy. A 4,000 milliamp hour battery can deliver 4,000 milliamps of current. Amps of current for 1 hour. What does that mean? Wouldn't you need to know the voltage to know how much wattage that is? How are you this rich, but you've never charged your laptop in business class before? I charge my work laptop in business class all the time. It only trips if you're poor in economy. If you have a work laptop, then you probably have a loser adult laptop that doesn't have a discrete GPU for playing video games. I don't care that you're a Lenovo ThinkPad or whatever, or your whatever bullshit boring Dell, okay, with your 80-watt brick, okay, fuck you. That's a different thing. Yeah, I also just spent a long time. Fuck, well now I feel bad because now I'm getting less enamored with my iPad. It's just been so long since I've had like a real laptop. This isn't even the best laptop, and I got it fucking used. But every laptop I bought for the past like 10 years has been like a fucking gimmick laptop. So it's been a while since I've had like a real laptop. But I also need to I shouldn't travel. No, I'm done with this Expedition 33 game. Dude, I was sinking way too much time into that shit. But that's okay. I beat it, and now I'm done. And I 100%ed it. Every achievement. Don't tell them about the E33 DLC. Huh, I'm beating that 100% when it comes out, okay? 100%. But okay, wait. We were moving through things. Okay, I learned about that for laptops. Now I know. Now you know, because I learned. And now you know it. Are these becoming available? Oh, they are. Oh boy. This was cute. Baldur's Gate 3 is peak. I like stories with characters, okay? I like stories with characters. I don't like blank slate bullshit. I don't like fucking Bethesda. That's it, okay? Like, Baldur's Gate 3 seems like it might be a fun game with friends maybe or something, but I need my JRPG style games, okay? That's why I like Expedition 33 so much, all right? Baldur's Gate 3 is character driven. The main character is a real person. I feel like I started this game like 12 years ago, and it's BioWare style companions. Baldur's Gate 3 has multiple characters with good stories. Are you retarded? Okay, yeah, we view it differently, okay? When you can pick from like 15 different characters that all have different options and shit. Like, let me put it this way. And this is going to bother some of you, okay? Where are my AP English? Because I never really went to college, I guess. Where are my English students? You will, in 200 years, you will never be in an English class because you'll all be dead, okay? In 200 years, nobody's going to be in English class and be like, okay, teacher, you know, now what? On the bottom of this great literary American classic we're reading, it says, if you want him to open the door, turn to page 33, or if you want him to go down the hallway, turn to page 125. Choose your own adventure books will never be considered great literature. You cannot write that many good stories. You have to make too many compromises. It's just this bullshit, okay? There are 7 origin characters that you can either choose to have as your own character or have as companions. No! I want one consistent, one coherent story with one set of characters, with a consistent theme, with it working and being built. That's what I want, okay? Fuck you, all right? I like games like The Witcher, yeah, Red Dead Redemption, my traditional JRPGs, my Phantasy Stars, and my Final Fantasies, and my Secret of Manas, and my Chrono Triggers, and my Metal Gear Solids. Fuck you. Okay, wait. I'm just flashing through my takes on E33. I thought the soundtrack was good. There were too many good songs though, and I actually don't mean that in a positive way. I think they should have like narrowed the scope a little bit. I feel like that composer blew like his 10-year load on that OST and will never make anything even remotely close to that ever again. That game had a lot of bangers. That game had a lot of fucking bangers. Which was good, but sometimes I feel like I would just get like in a random fight and I'd be like, holy shit, this is a crazy ass song. And then you'd like never hear it again. Like, the fuck? Oh, it seems kind of crazy. The voice acting was good. The gameplay I thought was really good. I think it struck a really good balance of turn-based gameplay that didn't get boring or drag on, even though you couldn't skip animations, which is usually really scary for me because I'm like, oh God, I've got to sit through. But I never felt like it dragged ever. I always felt somewhat engaged with the parry feature, which I thought was cute. I feel like the Picto system, I actually really liked that I feel like it was a combination of like simplistic, but also there was like a lot of potential experimentation or fun with like combining different ones on the Luminous shit. I thought that was cute. I think the Pictos themselves could be reworked. Like it was a little bit too bleh. Like I think the stats or something maybe could have been a bit different. I don't know. There's definitely areas for improvement, but I thought it struck a good balance of simplicity versus complexity. Like I liked that it only took 4 battles to learn a Picto, because that's definitely, I feel like in traditional RPG world, back when I played games, I haven't played any AAA games in so long, it would be like 50 wins to max out a Picto and make it available for everybody. Maybe it could have been 10 battles or 5 instead of 4 or something, but the story I thought was ambitious. I liked, it was like a relatively original story with a pretty mature theme dealing with grief, which I think and it's an original story, or maybe it was based on a book or something, but I appreciate that. I feel like, is it Act 3? Should have centered on Mael. I feel like it was a mistake that didn't happen. Did you get Verso in Act 2? I feel like Act 3 should have centered on Mael. I think that was a mistake for it not to. I think that one thing that I don't know what the writer was going for, because I feel like I read interviews with the director where he said that there's no real true ending, that both endings can be canon, or rather there's not like a good or a bad ending. But I feel like they needed to justify way more for it to be emotionally and philosophically fulfilling. They needed to do way more to build up the idea of Mael losing herself forever in the canvas. That's just, I don't think they did enough to build that up. The Verso ending, I think if you're engaging with the material in a mature, honest, intellectual way, the Verso ending is like clearly and obviously the morally, artistically correct choice, I think, if you want to show like a positive, good message or something. Yeah, I think. Why do you support Zoran over Cuomo? Is it vibes? At the very beginning of the race, I might have supported Cuomo, but I would have to look into the sexual stuff more. I just don't know enough. Because I feel like some of the things I read sounded retarded, but there might be bad stuff there and I just didn't dig into it enough. And I think Cuomo is a little bit more of like that center left versus Zoran, who's like the far left kind of guy. But the accepting the endorsement from Trump, fuck Cuomo. I don't like that at all. And then didn't Cuomo, he lost the primary, but he was still going to run in the general, right? I don't know, man. I don't like it. Don't like it. I think they should have shown more how in pain and how miserable Alicia was in the real world and why the painted world was so appealing. Yeah, I think that they could have done it a little bit better there as well, for sure. I guess she couldn't talk. Oh, like one way they could have showcased that, because there was one cutscene where Verso plays the piano and Mael sings. There should have been more of her singing, or music should have been a bigger part of her life or something. Because it just didn't seem like as big of a deal. Like your voice is fucked, I guess, in the real world, but yeah, I don't know. I think there also needed to be a bigger consequence for destroying the canvas as well. Like she wouldn't be able to paint anymore. Like all of her power or whatever was wrapped up in this one canvas, and if they destroy it, she can never paint again. So that it feels more like there's more totality or finality or whatever in her destroying that canvas, because she could always just like paint another canvas in the future if she wants. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit unsatisfied, but it's fine because this is a very ambitious game, and I really appreciate the mature subject matter. Dealing with grief and loss is a very human thing, and the way that they showcase and everything, with the balance of like goofy, funny characters, and then you find out like, oh, like these goofy, funny characters asking everything were like a brother and sister, you know, painting and drawing and going on adventures and shit. It reminded me a little bit of I barely remember this movie, but this movie was a mindfuck when I watched it. Am I making this? I don't want to spoil. Has anybody seen a movie called Bridge to is it Terabithia? Oof. I feel like I watched this a long time ago, but that was like a, oof. Oof. Why is there contention on the two endings? It's obvious Verso's ending was the correct choice. I think that people get hung up on trying to, like Foxip and Food Shops of this, where like, oh no, painted people have consciousness, and the consciousness and consciousness. The problem is once you've established that one world is fake, unless this is you would have to spend a lot of time diving into this thematically to really artistically justify. I don't know how to express this concept. If you want to deal with a certain thing in an art medium, you have to give it its due diligence for it to truly be considered honestly by somebody that's partaking in the medium. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like in Harry Potter, I always go to Harry Potter. I don't know why. Fuck, I can't think of an example right now. But like sometimes like a medium will lightly deal with a topic, but not like heavily, and then people are like, oh no, and they're really heavily factoring that in. The idea of like the other people being conscious or whatever is just not. I just don't think that's an important thing. I consider this way more akin to Inception, and I think for Inception, I thought about this more, and I kind of spoke with a friend about this more too because I was considering this idea more. The problem with Inception is twofold. One is there is a real world, and if you know there's a real world, then the fake world can't be as good as the real world, right? Like in Inception, why was it so important that Male? What does he call her? It's not Mel. It's not Mael. Mal? What does Leonardo DiCaprio call his wife? Is it Mal? Why does he want her to come out of the dream? Like, why can't they just live in the dream forever? You know? And the reason why is because there's a real world, right? And there are children there, and there are real decisions, and there are other people that can make choices and that can do things otherwise. And it's just, yeah, it's important to be a part of the real world. The real world has to mean something. I can't debate that. It's just axiomatic. The real world has to mean something more than a fake painted world. And to pretend that the game paid enough attention to the concept of building out characters that have their own consciousness, nah, I don't know. I feel like I'm sympathetic to where people come from kind of in that, but I would actually argue that was a mistake in the game, and that the game focused too much in the third act on Verso, and that was inappropriate. The third act should have centered on Mael. It shouldn't have been Verso having his own adventures with like Lune and Ciel or whatever. It was incongruent, I think, with the ending choice and like with the direction of the game, I think, yeah. But in Inception, the problem is that in the dream, the people are your own imagination of the people. E33 seemed to me to present the people of Lumiere as independent consciousnesses. I mean, you can say that, but ultimately they're fake and drawn anyway, right? Like, you can draw whatever, you can change whatever, you can, if you don't like the way it is, you can redo it. Yeah. The creator is saying that there isn't a bad ending. Doesn't make any sense with the Mael ending. Yeah, I would have to go and read. Now I'm curious if the director actually said that, because artistically, they really do communicate that that the Mael ending is bad. Like that is communicated through the medium. Absolutely. And there is a way to communicate this where it doesn't seem bad, but like this is such a fucked. What is this aspect ratio? Could you play the game like this? I knew it. I bet this is on PS5 or whatever. They do this to get 60 FPS or whatever and high resolution bullshit. Is they put it in a crunched 4:3 aspect ratio, and that's why that over the shoulder, the field of view sucks. Actually, maybe not. There's no way the PS5 is a 4:3 like it's playing on TV. Everything I just said didn't make sense. Never mind. I'm retarded. Forget that. Like, there's no way that it was like, this is not communicated as being like a good wholesome ending. And there are ways that they could have done it too, you know? Like, to point back to Inception, you know, like the Inception ending being ambiguous, it thematically makes sense, and it's dealt with appropriately too, you know? Like, is this real or is it fake? He clearly doesn't care, but it's not like he walks outside and his children are frozen, seemingly inhuman things, right? It's that the children are, they're his children, right? So he's like happy and enjoying life and everything. So, you know, the fact that the top is spinning doesn't matter, does it not matter, right? It makes more sense. It's dealt with in a more appropriate manner artistically to actually have a valid consideration. Yeah, so I really don't like, I don't know, I need to stop quoting, because I actually, especially given how many of you retards chose Mael, I should just watch the director talk about it instead of going by what other people say the directors say. It's not ambiguous, the top wobble. It's absolutely ambiguous. Please stop.
Bro.
Quick, you got 3 minutes. What's up?
Okay, so in the ending to Inception, I think the implication was that he doesn't care about whether or not his children are real or fake, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So doesn't that help my point more? As in, like, what is considered real is really just...
No, but the point I'm making is that in Inception, right, it's accurately communicated in the medium that he doesn't care because everything is like great and awesome and he sees his children. In the ending of Expedition 33, the artwork, direction, and everything else makes it seem like a fucked, fractured reality. It's like the banging the piano and the him sighing and then the cut to her painted face leaking it doesn't seem...
Yeah, sure. However, in Mael's ending, if it didn't show any consequences, it would have been too happy. I think that was the direction they probably have gone with.
But that doesn't make any sense because Verso's ending seemed very happy and wholesome.
Yeah, because it's actually very sad in material sense, right?
No.
Like they reach acceptance from my perspective, and you'll never agree with me on this. From my perception, like they are all conscious. Like you spend the entire game building up these bonds, talking with these motherfuckers, learning that they have lives,
no, I'm saying that when they go to the real world in Verso's ending, the family, like everybody they've accepted their grief and they've moved on. Like that's like a happy ending.
That's not really a happy ending. Because think about it. Even though the tone is happy, like Mael probably has a fucked up voice for the rest of her life. She doesn't be epic and cool anymore. She has to paint her own world. She has to deal with the trauma. She like.
But it's dealt with.
I have a question for you. What do you think?
Wait, no, stop. Hold on. The dealing with grief is a part of life. Mm-hmm. Just because you become injured or something happens to you doesn't mean the rest of your life is misery or sad. Generally speaking, It's an unspoken rule in the world of art. You're trying to convey positive messages to the audience. It's almost always a universal rule in art. Even if an artist isn't aware of it, you're almost always trying to convey some sort of positivity, right? In the end of a movie where somebody's accepted grief and they've learned to like move on, it's not like, oh my God, it's a sad ending because they're always going to be disabled or dead. It's no, they finally processed this. They don't have to hide in a fantastic delusion anymore. They've accepted Verso's gone. They moved on. She'll figure out how to live her life. And then that's like the next step. That's the next stage of life. It's not like, oh my God, it's sad. She lives in disbelief forever.
Yeah, sure. I would like generally agree with that. But another part of the game's messaging about guilt is that guilt, like survivor's God, what is it called? Survivor's guilt, I think, right? Is a big part of it because Aline wishes that Mael was dead, right? Instead of Verso, because I think Aline liked Verso more, but it's been a few months, so I probably have forgotten.
Wait, hold on. Remind me of who all these people are again. Wait. Aline
is the mother, the Pinterest.
Likes Verso more than Mael.
Yes.
When you say likes Verso more than Mael, you mean likes Verso more than Alicia or whatever?
The painted Alicia, right? Well, yes. Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah, that's why she made Alicia's face like that's why she made her scarred. Even the painted version gets scarred.
Yeah, I understand, but like, wasn't the mother? But the mother was also getting lost in that canvas too. But wasn't the mother finally pulled out as well? Like, I don't think at the end of the Verso's ending, it's communicated that the mother hates Mael. I think she's accepted everything that's happened, or that she hates Alicia. She's accepted what's happened, and they've moved on as well, right?
Yeah, she's also moved on. Yeah, sure.
So she shouldn't hate her. So the family is in the real world. They've processed their grief with Verso, and they're moving on to the next stage of life.
But from my perspective, right, one family being able to accept and process their grief is a good thing, but it's not a better thing than preserving the lives.
Sure, I understand, because you think it's all real and there's no difference between the two. I got it. Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Which is the big difference, because here's the thing: if you are right in the sense that like everybody there is just simply a simulation and they don't really have the same moral consideration as anybody from above, then sure. But I just think it's just extreme that like you go through the entire game. Otherwise, what is the point of Gustav in the first place? Like, what is the point of any of the bonds? Like, a lot of side quests, a lot of stories would then just mean nothing. And then, like, none of it would mean anything. Like, what is it? Just escapism for escapism's sake?
It literally is, right? It literally all is escape. The whole canvas is escapism, right?
Yeah, but then a lot of the messages from the game seems to clearly indicate that like these people are exactly like the Desandres. Like they are exactly, if not more, right? Because part of it is also like, because I think it was Lune who said like, bro, you didn't even ask us like what we thought of this. It wasn't like you even considered us to be real people. You betrayed us, right? Why did the director put that in? Like,
because they would feel that way, sure, but they're also, but they're not real.
But if it wasn't real, then what is the point of that dialogue? That dialogue is meant to evoke some kind of thought to the gamer, right? That shows that, okay, maybe what Verso did wasn't entirely right. And you have to keep in mind, Alicia, I think Alicia was the painted one, by the way, was the one that gave Verso the letter, right? The letter that said, oh yeah, one paints life, one paints death. Maybe you can find another way. The correct answer is maybe a little bit of escapism is always okay to process grief. It's not entirely wrong for someone to not play video games when a family member dies in order to distract from everything else, right? Because in essence, you're kind of doing the same thing, right? You're playing Expedition 33 as a way to escape from the grief of the
but
lawsuit,
there's
right?
no okay, hold on. There's no that's the ending is not her temporarily escaping though. The implication is she will die in the canvas. 100%.
I'm pretty sure it was she will go insane. IRL, right?
Yeah, she'll die in the canvas. Yeah, she'll lose her mind.
Sure.
Like
But
what Mal was going to do in Inception, like losing herself in the dream world
right.
forever.
So I don't even think that's true.
It has to be true. Otherwise, your answer is obviously correct. It's absolutely 100% true. It's obviously true.
Sure. No. Hold on. Sure, Aline was shown to be suffering, right? When after Renoir's fight, like she was shown to be like, oh, 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 oh," right? Um, well, the thing is that one key line says, well, Clea says, oh, they have spent more time in other paintings. Are you really saying that Mayel isn't going to get any kind of character development once she's trapped in there?
No, the development is leaving the canvas. Staying in there is arrested development. She's never going to grow up. She's literally 16 years old twice. Like, yeah, I don't think she's ever going to grow up in the canvas. At what point do you remember? Have you seen all of House?
Look,
have you seen all of House?
Not.
You haven't seen? Have you seen? You haven't seen like House's head and Wilson's heart, where Amber dies?
No, but I play Undertale. Does that count?
Oh my god. There's a part where Amber is on bypass, and at some point she has to be disconnected to be killed or to die, basically. And Amber is.
Wait, is my audio fucked?
No, don't worry about it. You're not using the right microphone, but it doesn't matter.
Oh my god.
Amber says something along the lines of like I'm tired, like I think I want you to disconnect me. And then Wilson is like, no, I need like a little bit more time. And then Amber says, we're always going to want a little bit more time. There's no point where Mayel, it's the same thing for Mayel. There's no point where Mayel's going to, okay, I'm good now to leave behind Verso and everything. Like, it's the implication is that she will die in that campus. That's why her dad is working so hard to free her.
And I think that's okay, right? Because if it's true that I consider everybody else...
Yeah, I know, but that's just boring. But I understand, yes. If it's a whole other universe of a ton of people, then yeah, of course, yeah, you should preserve the whole universe.
That's not a boring thing.
It's boring because the answer is obviously correct, and it's not the subject matter of the game.
I don't disagree with you all that much. No, if you think about it, I don't even disagree with you all that much. Obviously, excessive escapism is bad, right? Like if you played...
No, not in what you're saying. No, not in what you're saying, because for your saying, it's not excessive escapism. They're just going to another place because all those people have the same conscious experience and moral considerations as every normal human. So the answer is obviously she should stay there forever, and obviously destroying the campus is immoral because you're comparing one person to a universe of people. So the answer is very obvious. It's not thought-provoking at all.
No, but that's where we have a fundamental disagreement, because I'm sure you would agree that if everyone in the painted world is worthy of the same moral consideration, then fuck the Desandres, right?
That's what I just said, yeah. But that's not even an interesting or thought-provoking question. You're just saying, like, should you save one world of like a billion people or just save one family?
You can have both. But the thing is that you can have both, right? Because if there was a reality in which Mayel actually manages to get character development or something like that, you can have
She can't get. This is the story. She's not going to develop. It's whether she's going to remain arrested.
Verso wants to die, right? So if you can kill Verso, have the little painted boy still keep painting, everyone gets to live inside the canvas, and Mayel exits to the real world occasionally and comes back for visits. Like,
yeah, but that's not the story. That's not the options presented.
Yeah, because it's clear obscure. It's a clear obscure, right?
Okay, in a world where we can invent like character growth and development after the story ends, then yeah, any ending can be like fine, I guess, because you can just pretend or imagine that they're going to grow up or change after the story is over. But,
yeah.
Okay.
Well. I mean, then I'm sure you can agree that. Okay, I'm not even sure if you'll like agree with this, just meaning because you're so psychotic. But do you consider both endings to be bad? Because I actually consider both endings to be bad in a way.
No, I don't.
No? Okay, you're lost to the sauce.
Mayel waking up and leaving the fantasy world and going back to the real world and processing her grief is better than the arrested development of living in a fake world forever.
Okay, great, but who cares about Mayel?
The real Mayel should. What do you mean?
It's a boring conversation, right?
The whole family cares about Mayel.
No, the entire conversation isn't just an important part of the story is the selfishness of the Desandres.
No, that's a side plot that you've made up because you think they all get moral consideration and you think it's selfishly created a whole new universe.
I promise you're missing the entire thing.
Okay.
You're stupid, okay?
Okay. I understand your perspective. I fundamentally disagree with it. So everything that follows from this, I'm going to disagree. I understand what you're saying.
You miss dialogue. Like, you are actually missing dialogue.
Okay.
Like, for example, when Verso was talking with Mayel, what did Verso say in Act 3? Oh, it's because of the Desandres' inability to process grief is why everybody else has to suffer. It's not that Verso is denying the sentience of all the painted beings. It's that he acknowledges the sentience of the painted beings, but he still chooses to kill them all anyways for the selfishness of himself. Therefore, even though the painted Verso is just a painted version, he is still just as much selfish as the real Verso would have been. that is part of the complicated messages and the black and white and shades of gray theming that goes on.
Okay.
But otherwise, there'd be no point to any of the dialogue ever. You just
Well, no,
otherwise
it
you
makes sense that he.
invalidate
It makes
so much
sense that he
dialogue.
has his own
It
feelings. And
invalidates so much story.
It makes sense that he has his own feelings about things. Like that makes sense because he's a thing. But at the end, he still wants to die because he recognizes that he's not real. That he wants the real life sister of the person that inspired him to move back to the real world, like the mom has, like the dad is, and to process her grief and to be a part of the real world. He's not like begging her to stay and celebrating her staying there. He thinks it's a catastrophe for her to suicide to live in a fantasy
Yeah, sure.
Delulu land.
Fine. I'm okay with assisted suicide. Okay, I'm okay with that. But Verso can just simply choose to die because guess what? Have you fought Alicia? Painted Alicia?
Yeah, I did everything, but I don't think Verso
okay.
can choose to die. She can literally just repaint him.
No, Mayel can gamage away Verso.
Yeah, but he can't literally. He literally is immortal in the game.
No, Mayel gamaged away Alicia, right?
Okay.
Can she not gamage away Verso?
Yeah, but she's not going to. She wants them around.
Yeah, sure, but like Verso should have considered that, right? Verso should have been like, bro, I really need you to kill me right now, okay? I really need it really badly right now.
That was the
Like a
whole
burger.
ending. What he was begging for.
No, he wanted to take out the entire world with him. He was like the Unabomber or like a suicide bomber.
Because he wanted her to go back to the real world.
Like it wasn't enough for them to give his life to Allah. He had to take out the entire mosque.
Well, because he was the only. I think he was the only like painted creature thing besides like the family members. Well, he kind of sort of was the family members that had the wherewithal to understand the whole context of what was happening. Like the other fictional characters in the canvas don't really, like Lune and CL aren't going to understand that they're not real. But Verso does have that understanding. So of course he's advocating for Mayel to leave and go back to the real world.
Sure, but Verso is selfish. He's not considering the lives of everybody around him.
I understand that's boring. I understand. I agree. If you're going to say they're all conscious beings, then yeah, he's bad. That's not good.
From his perspective, that's his perspective. I'm not saying from your
His perspective is not being selfish. His perspective is being selfless. He's making a decision for
No.
Mayel that he thinks that she's not mature enough to make.
That's like the Joker. That's like the Joker wanting to blow up Gotham City and saying, "Oh yeah, it's an act of mercy." I don't care what they think. It's an act of mercy that I'm having everybody die because everyone is deep down inside dark and evil.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're saying they're all other conscious beings that are just the same as human beings, then sure. But I'm saying that like
you're assigning collective punishment. It's like if
yeah, I already agree. I already agree with you. There's not even an interesting conversation. If you think they're all real, then obviously she should just stay in the canvas and die.
How is that not an interesting conversation?
Because the answer is obvious at that point. She should stay in the canvas and die. There's no argument you can make for her genociding an entire world if you think all those people are real.
Die. The entire Desandre family is allowed to die. Nobody's stopping them from dying. And the thing is that even
no, wait, you're not
Mayel's
understanding me.
ending-
What I'm saying is that that's an entire universe of people. Then the answer is obvious. Yeah. She should stay in the canvas forever. She can't genocide a whole universe just to go back to one family. She should just stay there. But that's not. That's like not even. You don't even have to contemplate that.
Yeah, but like to escape escapism, you don't need to genocide an entire group of people. If you can't escape from that universe, that's a skill issue, right? You can't genocide because you have a skill issue.
I don't. We're
insane.
talking. Yes. Okay.
No, if you have a skill issue to be unable to process your trauma or you process your guilt or grief in a productive way, you shouldn't be compensating for that in order to genocide an entire fucking world.
I understand. I keep telling you that if we're going to say that you're killing real people, then of course your answer is obviously true.
Yeah. But your argument is that you think it is a more interesting conversation if you only look at it from the escapism angle. But I'm telling you, there's way more themes in the story that your bad faith representing, deliberately ignoring, or just straight up lying on.
In Inception, do you think the other people in the fantasy world that that Leo and his wife are, do you think the other NPC people walking around, are those like real conscious people?
The NPCs, I'm not entirely sure. They don't explain it in the story. However, the wife specifically, because she's actually just a recreation, right? Like, I'm just double checking the.
Well, I'm saying the backstory is that the wife and him were real, but they were lost in a dream world.
No. The wife died IRL, right?
Yes, because she got lost in a dream world and he wanted to break her out, and she couldn't process her. I don't know, I say grief or whatever. but
Yeah. Okay, if she was fake, if she is a recreation,
she's a
the
what?
movie, if she was a recreation, right? The
No,
wife,
no, that's not
right?
what
If the
that's
wife was a recreation.
that's not what I'm
No,
talking
if she,
about.
no, no, no.
No, 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 stop.
That's
I'm not
why
talking
I'm
about when she was a
asking
recreation. I'm
about
talking about when Leonardo DiCaprio and when his wife had their own fantasy universe. That was the backstory. Is that they created a dream world for them to live in forever. And I'm saying that was them leaving that dream world. If there were other NPCs in that dream world, is that like unethical to you?
No, because keep in mind that a scene in Inception is a bunch of elderly people hooked onto Inception machines in order to live out the rest of their years.
What is Mayel if not hooked up to the Inception machine to go to the painting?
Yeah, that's not inherently bad.
Why is it inherently bad in Inception but not inherently bad in Expedition 33?
No, both are not inherently. The only reason, and I'm pretty sure Expedition 33 says this, the only reason why the game considers it to be bad is because it brings grief to Renoir and it brings grief to Elaine. And not to Elaine, sorry. It brings grief to Renoir specifically.
Well,
And
wait, hold on, wait. Like in a very like in a very
fuck.
applied sense, yeah. But in like a thematic sense, it's bad because it represents an inability to process grief. It represents an escapism and unwillingness to accept a harsh reality or a harsh truth in reality.
But how you process that grief is part of the conversation, right?
Yeah, and they process it by escaping into a fantasy world.
Sure. I would ask you, like, do you think it's good to process grief by playing a video game to distract you sometimes?
Sure, it can be, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So why am I wrong?
Because Mayel is not playing a video game to distract herself sometimes. She's going to sit playing the video game until she dies. And she's going to abandon her whole real life family. They're going to have to watch her die as well.
She is literally living an entirely different world. Inside, she leads a different life.
It's a
Inside
fake
of her.
life, though. It's
She-
fake. It's not
she-
real.
Yeah, but then that just wraps us back around. We're going in circles.
Yep, I know. That's why I said we already fundamentally disagree on this. But it's fake. It's not like she's going to... She wouldn't live, like, in poverty
Because-
in her canvas, right? She's
Yeah,
literally
I mean,
painted her own
here's the-
reality. Like,
Here's the thing. I wish we would move past the conversation of whether or not we could argue that they are sentient real beings of worthy of the same moral consideration. But I feel like if your axioms are not grounded in that, we are unable to have.
I agree with you.
I
That's
don't
why I
know.
said there's no point because it's not an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
If I accept that they're all a whole universe full of other
Okay.
people, then it's not that she stepped into a canvas, that she's gone to another planet.
But my new issue now, is that you specifically are ignoring the other themes of the game when you say you love the game so much. How could you say to love the game when you ignore or deliberately misrepresent a lot of other parts of the game?
Like
All
what?
the side quests, all the dialogue. Well, I said so before, right? Remember, Verso said, oh yeah, because of Desandre's selfishness and like guilt and grief, they cause everybody around them to suffer. Everybody around them. That isn't just the Desandres, right? Because keep in mind that there is no other IRL person presented other than Desandres. So who is everyone? Everyone is
I would have to go
everybody
back
inside
and-
the painted world.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, of course you have to go back, but I memorized everything.
No, I'm saying, first of all, there are other real people. They're called the writers, number one. Okay, number two, the reason why I say I have to go back, especially because I don't trust your reading of any of the script.
Wait,
What?
hold on. You say you consider the writers to be a part of everyone? They are suffering because of the Desandre's inability to process grief? Is that
I'm
what you're
saying that those are other real people that are referenced.
Oh, yeah, so? They're not shown for a reason, right? Are they
I don't know. I'm
suffering?
just saying
In
there
fact,
are other real
they're
people that are
happy and
referenced. You're saying
celebrate,
no other real people in the whole thing were referenced. I'm saying
right? They're certainly... No,
You're-
but they're not shown.
I
If
never
they're
said they
clearly-
were shown.
the
You said
director-
no
the
other real
director
people. You said
clearly-
no other real people are referenced, and I said there's at least one other
Yeah,
family
I mean-
that's referenced that's
But
real.
Listen, if you were actually right, okay, if you were actually right, my friend, they would have shown like a family friend.
No, I'm not even disagreeing with you. I'm just taking issue with the
say,
one
"Oh
statement.
my
I'm just
God,
taking issue with the
you're-"
one statement that you said that no other real people are referenced. There is
Yeah,
at least
but
one.
the evidence doesn't support your argument. Your argument is flawed if you're even making an argument in the first place. You don't have an argument.
Okay. Anything else?
I love you, okay?
I love you too. Be careful, okay?
Okay.
Okay. What were we doing before this? Yes, they are. Destiny is saying that the people in the canvas are real/real enough is a boring interpretation, and that the ending where you abandon them is the objectively correct ending, and I disagree with that for those reasons. All I'm saying is that there has to be a difference like there has to be a reason. This is just axiomatic. There has to be a reason to prefer reality over fantasy. I really do feel like of all the media I've consumed, which I guess is not much, Inception is the one that maps the most cleanly onto this game. There has to be a reason. Why do we want Leonardo DiCaprio and his wife? I don't remember Leo's name. Why do we want them to wake up? Why can't they just live in the dream world forever? Like, what's wrong with that? Because there has to be a preference for reality. And now, why should we prefer reality to fantasy? I mean, you can go into, like, I would say that fundamentally true things have to be more important than not true things, than fictional things. And I would say that interacting with other authentic human beings, other moral agents that can choose otherwise and make choices is an important part of like our existence. But there has to be a reason to prefer reality over fantasy. There has to be a reason for that. Regardless of fake or not, shouldn't a creator have the final say over their own creation? Almost like in an abortion debate. No, actually. I'm not 100% on this. I've thought a little bit more about the question of like, what is art? In thinking about this game and in thinking about the AI stuff, because it's coming up more and more. And one of the things that I think we kind of settled on last time in having this conversation, because, you know, we debate the great philosophies here and everybody in the world follows us and what we take, our takes on everything, is that art requires intention. And that's the difference between like a beautiful scenery in nature and a photograph of the same scenery or a painting of the same scenery, right? It's a human intention to create art. I'm borrowing a little bit from another philosopher I've never read before, the Wittgenstein stuff, in terms of like private language. It doesn't really map the same. I don't know if I believe in the concept of private art. I almost feel like the intentionality to create art, that for it to be art, it almost requires it to be shared with another person, maybe. I'm not 100% sold on that, but I'm like 85% on that. Meaning necessarily when you create art and you give it to the world, you lose a say in how people engage with that art. So you can create art with the intention of creating art, and then you can give it to the world with the intention of evoking or provoking certain feelings in people. But once you've done that second step of the art, which is to give it to the world, you lose control of that art, and you no longer have a say with how people choose to engage with it. I thought of this actually in reference to, because what did I say? I went down the rabbit hole on some crazy Twitter thread. Was it about furry porn? I don't even know what the fuck this was about. Or maybe it was Expedition. Somebody posted something where they were like, if I draw a character and I have this character, you guys aren't allowed to make porn of it or something. They were like, I don't appreciate when people draw my characters like that. And it's like, once you've created the art and you've given it to the world, you have no more say over how people engage with it. You can't dictate that. That's up to them. Now, you know, it can be up to you to convey the message as cleanly and as clearly as possible, such that there is very little room for disagreement or interpretation. So, like, for instance, Harry Potter again, right? Voldemort is clearly and obviously a bad guy. Or in Lord of the Rings, Sauron is very clearly and obviously a bad guy. And Aragorn and all them very clearly and obviously represent good guys. It's very hard to escape that interpretation because of how the media is presented. But in other things, it could be maybe more ambiguous, yeah. But anyway, all of that, that's my interpretation of things, okay? All of that said, that's why I think the third act should have focused more on Maëlle, and the third act should have focused more on her suffering in the real world. Because I think, like, I hate reading in between the lines. One of the things you guys do the most that triggers the fuck out of me is you make a bunch of assumptions about the world that might be like reasonable assumptions, but they weren't actually conveyed in the media. I hate it when people interpret art that way, right? But I feel like I am drawing a little bit outside here, but I feel like they wanted to convey it more in the game. I just think they didn't do a great job at it, because there are a few lines of dialogue here about this, but it felt like in the game they wanted to convey the idea that Maëlle's real-world existence entailed a great deal of suffering. I don't believe they did a great job of conveying that. She cried a little bit about it at the end, but I think more attention should have been paid to her real-world existence. Although maybe you can argue you kind of saw it through the painted Alicia or whatever, and her inability to talk and have the scarred face, maybe. But I feel like they could have done a better job of that, because if it truly was a miserable fuck existence in the real world, if she truly was losing access to so many things, then the argument for the painted world. But I think it all centers on Maëlle at the end of the day. Yeah. Sometimes there's legitimate vagueness, though, and everyone brings their own baggage into interpreting things. True, there could be. But other times, like, there can be vagueness that's intentional, but there could also be vagueness that's, like, unintentional. There's, like, bad vagueness. So, like, I would argue that the ending of Inception, there is vagueness around the concept of, is it a real world or is it a dream world? But that vagueness is intentional to provoke the thought of arguing back and forth, does it even matter, right? I think that that's important for the viewer to consider, right? And I think that's intentional on the part of the artist. Or on Christopher Nolan, I guess you would say, right? Okay, Camille Lovestrain. If you consider the story from real Renoir's perspective, it's actual nightmare fuel, watching your entire family destroy itself. Yeah, for sure, of course. From the entire family's perspective, right? I'm trying to think, fuck, I still feel like it's hard to follow the story. I mixed up the fuck out of a lot of like the painted and real people. So the mother, okay, the very first canvas was painted by, it was Verso and Clea. The real world, those are two real people, right? And then Verso and Clea, were drawing a thing. Eventually Verso dies in real life because of a fire that, it wasn't caused by the writers, was it? Or was it? I don't remember. I don't think that was important. But a fire happens. I don't know if Verso dies saving Alicia or something happens, but then Alicia is scarred or disfigured. I think it's something like that, right? Alicia's scarred or disfigured in real life. The mother has, the real life mother, whose name is Aline, is that it? Has a lot of resentment because her wonderful son died, and she already has 2 fucking daughters, okay? And so the real world Alicia, is it Alicia or Alicia? I think it's Alicia. The real world Alicia is scarred, and when the mother goes into the canvas, she paints, the mother is the one that paints the adult Verso as being a handsome, strapping Giga Chad, fucking all the women, strapping young lad. And she paints Alicia as being scarred and disfigured still, which is fucked, right? Not cool, not good. Hold on, is that true? Somebody said the fire was caused by the writers, and Maëlle, and by Maëlle you mean Alicia, is implied to have had some fault in allowing it to happen. If she had some fault, it was like an innocent young like fuck up, or it was just Verso trying to save her. I don't think it's implied that she caused it like intentionally or something, right? Maybe she was reckless or something. Fuck, is there somebody vlog me or something? She was duped by the writers. Yeah, okay, yeah. Like she didn't like do it like intentionally or something, right? But yeah, sure, that might have been the case. So the father goes into the painting. Oh no. So Aline is in the painting. That's the mom, right? She paints everything. She starts to get kind of lost in the painting. Who's the one who does all the nevrons? Is that Clea? Does she draw the nevrons to help Renoir destroy the painting from inside? Is that why she draws the nevrons? Yes and yes. Okay. So Renoir and Aline, Renoir and Clea want to go into the canvas to break the mother free. They're slowly destroying everything. The mother is using all of her painted power to try to save everybody. So that's like the big twist, is that the gommage that's happening, it's not that the mother is writing a lower number to show that like, oh, she's killing everybody. It's that these are the only people she's still able to protect, right? Eventually, I don't remember when it happens. Is it at the end of the game? Is it when you defeat the paintress? Is the paintress Aline? Or is the paintress, when you defeat the paintress, that's when Aline is ejected from the canvas? Is that how that works? Or was the paintress a painted Aline? Okay, no, it's yes. Okay. The paintress is Aline. So when you defeat the paintress, Aline is ejected from the canvas. So she's essentially saved. And then Renoir is trying to save Mael or Alicia as well. Why does Aline come back in at the end? Why does the paintress come back in at the end to fight against Renoir? Can someone explain that? Is that Aline or is that like a painted paintress? To save the painting? Well, because why doesn't she just come back in? She wanted the canvas as well. Okay. Another thing that I feel like they failed at dealing with in the game that I don't think they give enough attention to this is like, why didn't they just save the canvas? Like, could they really just not lock it in another room? Like, I think the implication is supposed to be that if the canvas survives, then that means that Aline and Alicia are going to get lost in it again or something like that. I guess is the implication that they have to destroy it. But I wish they could have... They should have said something more about that. Like maybe like once you start a canvas, you can never move it. And so it would be impossible for them to lock it up because it was like in the main room or something dumb like that or whatever. It's implied that Aline will always try to find a way to go back in. Yeah, okay. I wonder why. So what is the story for why is they do move it before Alicia jumps in? Maybe they do. Clay might have mentioned that. I wonder why Aline comes back in to try to save Alicia. That's a thing I've never really considered. But maybe the mom is still like mind fucked and she's just like doesn't want it to die, I guess. Yeah. So I think, yeah, Renoir is fighting to save his family. Renoir is the hero, truly. Renoir is the hero of the game. And Clea is kind of the hero. Although I don't know why she's just a cunt. She just seems mean. I don't know why Clea doesn't have a larger role. Or maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention to this. I feel like if you describe all the characters, I feel like you would imagine Clea would have a larger role in the game, but it seems like she's kind of... But she's also mogging the fuck out of her sister constantly and everything. She's fighting the writers in real life. She's French. Okay, maybe. All of the characters are a stage of grief. Clea is anger. Oh, maybe I haven't looked at it. Maybe that's an analysis or whatever. What is Gustav? Who painted Gustav, or what is Gustav supposed to represent? Did Alicia paint Gustav to be Mael's like Verso fill-in, or what's up with that? Is it Gustav or Gustav? I think it's Gustav, sorry. Gustave? Aline made the Lumiere people. Aline cheated on Renoir with Gustav. Shut the fuck up. Gustav seems like a replacement for IRL Verso, so I don't know. Yeah, but why not just use Verso? Because she painted Verso as well, so why would she paint Verso and Gustav or Gustav? Isn't Gustav just a oh, maybe, yeah. Actually, no, yeah, because I think when Mael is born, Aline doesn't know Mael is Alicia. So Gustav is just a random person that's just another painted person. So okay, maybe, yeah.